Hey guys, LevelCap here, and today in gaming, big things are happening in Warzone. An EA employee is wrapped up in a major FIFA scandal, Roblox's IPO just blew away the competition, and much more. Activision just published an ominous blog post on Warzone's official website warning players of a containment protocol alert. They've been sending care packages to COD partners recently, hinting at an upcoming zombies event. It sounds like that event starts today. The zombie outbreak has started spreading, and you'll now find a zombies trial station in the heart of the prison area. Activating it spawns 40 zombies that you can kill for some bonus loot, just like it did on the crashed cargo ship. Leaked audio files that sound very official recently confirmed a casual sandbox mode and zombies theme extraction mode are coming to Warzone. It seems like we're getting the zombies extraction mode soon, following a bigger event to kick off Season 3 in April. That Season 3 event might include a new map, or it might not. At this point, it's really anyone's guess. For right now, it seems like we can expect the zombies infestation of Warzone to slowly overtake the map. The blog post image header has a 5% in bold font on it, which probably means the outbreak is at 5% capacity or something of that nature. Whatever the case, expect big things in the works as the outbreak continues. EA are officially investigating reports that one of their employees has been selling FIFA Ultimate Team cards to players. The cards in question are icon moments, which are the rarest and most desirable ones you can get. Usually, the only way to get them is in card packs with a random drop chance. Players took to Twitter posting screenshots of transactions between players and an EA employee. One of them was a transaction of $1,200 for 2 Team of the Year cards. FIFA cards are one of the more controversial microtransaction systems in gaming. Germany is considering reform laws that would classify FIFA and other games with loot boxes as a form of gambling. Last year, a Dutch court ruled EA could be fined every week for including loot boxes in FIFA. An EA employee being accused of selling in-game loot directly to players is just more fuel for the fire. EA released an official statement this morning to announce an internal investigation. It specifically says they understand how this creates concern about unfair balance in the game and competition. Many of the replies to the statement on Twitter are players demanding free icon moment packs as compensation for the whole situation. There are also screenshots in the replies indicating an EA help employee may have been offering cards to players looking to buy them. Roblox is one of the world's biggest games by player count, and now it's one of the biggest games in the world by market value. The Roblox Corporation went public yesterday, and its stock value hit $70 by the end of trading for the day. That puts their valuation at roughly $45 billion. As of last year, investors valued the studio behind the game at $4 billion. So the jump in value after one day of trades is pretty staggering. It puts their market cap well above EA, Take-Two, and Ubisoft. Those companies all have hundreds of titles and dozens of companies under their control. The Roblox Corporation is solely dedicated to one game and only has about 900 employees by comparison. The Switch port for Apex Legends launched yesterday to mixed reviews. Most of the complaints boil down to FPS drops when using Bloodborne's ultimate ability and a few other instances, though the chief complaint is probably the low resolution of the game when played on a TV. It only runs at 720p 30 FPS when docked, which is a far cry from the typical 1080p 30 or 60 FPS offered by other games. All that said, it is still Apex Legends at its core, and being played on a mobile device is the primary reason to own it on the Switch. If you're looking for a super serious high-performance version of the game, you're probably already playing it on next-gen console or PC. Though I do have to wonder how it actually plays on mobile. EA announced a mobile version of Apex is in development last year, but they haven't said if it's just a straight port or an entirely new version. If the game runs this poorly on Switch, it might spell disaster for the mobile port. Game Workshop, the makers of Warhammer 40k and its associated media, hired independent creator Siama Pedersen. You might be familiar with his Astartes series of animated fan films set in the Warhammer universe. They're a benchmark for CGI animation and quality in the independent VFX art scene, and also just astounding short films on their own. Games Workshop is bringing Pedersen and his Astartes series on board as an official Warhammer project. They'll likely be providing him with resources and to help him finish the series. According to a Chinese website, Nvidia are almost certainly releasing an RTX 3080 Ti in mid-April. We know Nvidia recently canceled its plan to launch a 3080 variant with 20GB of VRAM when AMD revealed their new RX 6800 and 6900 XT GPUs. We also know they put the 3080 Ti on the back burner until supply issues were sorted out. In other Nvidia news, it recently came to light that their GPUs perform up to 20% worse or more than comparable GPUs from AMD when CPU bound. Users have been reporting this issue recently, prompting investigations from tech reviewers like Hardware Unboxed. The problem is probably related to their GPU driver software since it's constant across all of Nvidia's recent GPU generations. The one thing that makes this less of a big deal is that if you have the money to buy a really powerful GPU, well, you're probably getting a pretty decent CPU as well, so you won't experience the bottleneck. 20 Bethesda titles are being added to Xbox Game Pass this week. The titles include the entire Doom franchise, Fallout 4, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 76, as well as Skyrim and the recent Wolfenstein games. Some of these games will also be compatible with the Xbox Series X and S FPS boost mode that could potentially double or even triple their frame rates. Almost all of the titles being added will be available on PC, console, and mobile devices. They'll be added tomorrow. Space RPG The Outer Worlds is getting its final DLC on the 17th. Murder on Eridanos is, as the name implies, a murder mystery storyline set on the planet Eridanos. It adds new quests, gear, gadgets, weapons, armor, cosmetics, and more. To start the DLC questline, you'll need to be at level 30. Indie RPG Loop Hero has turned out to be a smash hit. It's sold 500,000 copies since launching last week. The game is a mix of roguelike, RPG, deck builder, and strategy game genres. As you play, you unlock cards that unlock new abilities and enemies. The game is presented as a lo-fi top-down game with classic turn-based combat encounters. But unlike the games that it resembles, it throws a modern twist on everything by offering infinite replayability through its roguelike mechanics. A screenshot in the latest Xbox Wire post might be hinting at a next-gen upgrade for Batman Arkham Knight. The game was Rocksteady's final entry in their brawler detective Batman series. It launched with a ton of technical problems, especially on PC. It was even removed from sale for a while as the developer sorted things out. Today, it's mostly playable without issue, provided that you make a few tweaks on PC. On console, the main issue is being locked to 900p output on the Xbox consoles, even on the Series X. If the screenshot is anything to go by, Arkham Knight will be getting a next-gen upgrade that increases the game's resolution and frame rate. Capcom are warning people to avoid suspicious emails offering early access to the upcoming Resident Evil Village game. Capcom isn't sending out any of these emails, and it seems like it's part of a phishing scam. Capcom were the target of a massive cyber attack last year that leaked developer builds and details for several games. It looks like these fraud emails are promising access to a leaked version of The Village. Before we get to our final story today, I'd just like to say thanks for tuning in. We cover gaming news every weekday and post a weekly recap of videos on Saturdays. If you're new around here, consider subscribing to catch our next episode. HTC released a new facial tracking add-on for their VIVE Pro VR system. It tracks 38 facial movements to represent your mouth movements in-game or compatible software accurately. VR face tracking is tricky because, well, you're wearing a headset that covers your whole upper half of your face. The VIVE facial tracker should make it much easier to get good lip sync in games like VR Chat, or other titles where talking is a key mechanic. The tracker runs at 60 Hz and uses infrared lights to provide a pretty seamless track in most lighting conditions. And that wraps it up for today in gaming. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap signing off.